Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we are doing the shocks on ye old 31 Unicorn Skyline. So I've done the fronts. They're all on and looking freaking sweet. Time to do the rears. Rears they're easier, but they're harder. Let me explain. They're easier because you literally have to just unbolt 3 bolts at the top, 1 bolt at the bottom, pull it out, put the new one back in. They're harder because the tops on the new ones are a 2-bolt system. The tops on the old ones are a 3-bolt system. You used to be able to get like a spacer adapter that would go to the 2 to 3, so you can just pop it on. It's a little bit higher, but then it also saves you having to do other drilling and bits and pieces. But no one makes them anymore. Can't find them anywhere. With this system, what I'm actually going to end up doing is drilling a hole in, or drilling 2 holes in the tops of the shock towers for them to go in. Drilling 2 holes doesn't sound like much, but when you're trying to do it upside down, inside the wheel arch, inside the suspension tunnel, it's a freaking mongrel. I'm not gonna lie, this is the second side I'm doing, just so I can film it and show you guys. I have already done the other side, and it was an absolute bitch. It was probably the hardest thing out of this entire job to do. But in saying that, literally 2 holes, get those done, and that's it. It literally all just bolts back together then. The rears are very, very easy. All right, so what we need to do is undo this bottom bolt here and undo, if you can be able to see them here, come up the top and show you. There is 3 bolts up in here on top of the shock tower. You can just see them up there. So 1, 2, 3. So undo these, holding the top of the shock, holding the 1 bolt, undo the 1 bolt down the bottom that we need to get done there, and that's literally it. Pops out, new one slots straight into here. Have to drill the 2 holes at the top up there. That's it, done. So let's get into it. Okay, now what I'm actually going to do, so I've got all that off, I've got the shock out, I've balanced the diff back up because at the moment there was nothing holding onto it, it was just kind of balanced by a jack in the middle. I've put the shock tower, I've connected the bottom of the shock tower on the other side, so that's kind of bracing it, but then it's also balanced on the shock at the jack in the middle. I have to drill the 2 holes through here now to fit the new top hat of new diff. So you can see it's a 2-spot, 2-bolt top hat. As opposed to the old one that was a 3-bolt. What I've done is I actually use this, just grab a bit of cardboard, trace the outside of the old shock hat, use that to kind of trace the top of the old shock hat, well actually the gasket, there's kind of gasket in between the top of the shock hat and the body, use that to trace it, punch the holes out, then kind of found the center of how big the center of that 6 little lip, just so I can kind of figure out where my holes were, pop that on. I've got 3 little bolts that are sticking through from the top of the shock tower up there. Use that to line up, center it with those 3 holes. Paint marker, spot through there, and it's going to give me 2 holes up there. So what I'm doing is actually lining it up so that these 2 holes are 9 degrees to the body. The same as the bolt down the bottom is 9 degrees to the body. Just kind of give it a bit more of a, not if it's this way, one bolt's going to get a little bit more shear tension than the other. That way it's going to be kind of even tension on the bolt, on both the bolts. So that, pop this up here, I'll get my torch so I can see what I'm doing. Line this up with the 3 bolts, 2 spot marks, and then get drilling. Okay, so holes are drilled. I'll flash this up here. You might be able to see 2 extra holes are up there now. So that's going to fit the tops of the coilovers. Next thing I need to do, so with these coilovers, this little offset bit here, this is actually about 2 mil, 3 mil too wide to fit into this bracket here. This is 40 mil. The tops of these are actually about 42, 43 mil. So you just need to take a little slither off the edge here. Not as easy as it sounds. I actually ended up using sort of rags to hold it softly in a set of jaws, in a vise, and then hacksawed a little bit off the edge, filed it, flattened it, and then the other side popped in nice and easy. So I'm going to do the same to this. The way I do it though is I actually take that whole bottom section. So this whole section here actually screws off. So I'm going to take that off, make it a little bit easier so I'm not having to muck around with the whole thing, risk damaging, dropping coilover, doing anything silly with it. So I'll do that, I'll put it back together, I'll measure the height that I've got the other side adjusted to so I can set this to the same, and then pop it in, bolt it up. Do need to get a couple of nuts. I haven't got, so the stock nuts don't fit onto here, the front ones do, off the old suspension onto the new coilovers, it's the same. On these new ones, the rears, these are a smaller bolt than the old ones. You can kind of see from the holes that I've drilled. So I'm going to get some lock nuts. I've got just some normal nuts and washers and spring washers. So I've put those on the other side just to hold in place. I'll put these on just at the moment just to kind of test fit, see everything goes. But I'll get some lock nuts to put on here as well. Just so I know that's all locked in place, some spring washers and some lock nuts just to hold it all in place. And yeah, go from there. So yeah, trim this off, put it all back together, get the ride height right, or get the coilover height right, put it all back together, and we'll go from there. All right, so I didn't bother filming too much of the boring stuff. Basically, we've just seen, it's me under the car, so we just see my back the whole time, or my ass in the camera the whole time. No one wants to see that. So where we're at, I'll turn the camera around so you can see. So shock is in, bolted up, bolted at the top. You can see in the boot here. You might be able to see, it's pretty dark now. You can see because they're nice and shiny. 2 bolts either side. It's all been bolted up. They're all tightened up on both sides. Both sides are done and task now. Just got to muck around with the ride height, get the ride height correct to where I'm happy with it. Make sure that even both sides, obviously. And then I've got to kind of test fit, drop it, see what the ride height's like, see what the fitment's like under the arches, and then kind of muck around with up and down, just getting that right. And then back's done. Like, it's easy. I've done this in the night from start to finish. Took me no time at all. Yeah, back's super easy, super simple to do. The front is where the muck around is. Still waiting for parts. Have heard from the guy with the rack ends. Thank Christ. He's actually express posting them to me because he's mucking around a bit with delays. So they're getting express post out to me, which is awesome. So hopefully by the end of the week I'll have those and I can get cracking on those. I'm off Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Hopefully I can get started on those and get those in ready to go. Start playing around with alignment. For the minute, I'm going to do my own alignment. I know it's not recommended. Really should get a proper alignment done. But I'm going to muck around, do my own alignment just to get it kind of rough, close enough that it's drivable. And then I will organise a proper alignment later when I've got time. I don't want to do the alignment until I've kind of driven it for a bit as well and let it settle. That's the other thing. I kind of want to make sure it's all settled before I bother going in alignment because the shocks haven't settled because they're brand new. If they haven't settled, I go in alignment. I'm just going to have to do it in a couple of weeks anyway when things all kind of settle and I change ride heights and stuff. Should be picking up the stickers for the calipers this weekend. Finish those probably Monday, Tuesday, get them all painted, get them bolted on, and the other thing I have to do this weekend is get the rotors drilled for the 4-stud, and that's it. It's all done. It's, yeah, back together and ready to go. So, looking exciting. Yeah, that's it. Back's all done. I'm going to drop it down. I'll get it dropped down soon. I'll whack some photos or videos in here of it drop down just so you can see what the fitment looks like. Once we've got that all sorted, because that's a bunch of up and down and screwing around. It's pretty boring. Once that's done, I'll put some videos in the end of this just to show what it looks like when it's done, and yeah, go from there. Looking good.